Hey everyone, in this video we will talk about the first phase of Sade Sati. So Sade Sati usually is in three phases. First phase, which means when Saturn is transiting through your 12th house. Second, when it's going through your first house. And third, when it's going through your second house. The way of seeing these houses is usually through your moon horoscope. If you have moon in the ascendant in your natal horoscope, which means you can see via natal horoscope as well. But if moon is in different houses, say if moon is in fourth house, then as per your natal horoscope, you won't see Sade Sati as for that. I mean, you can see that, but ideally, the way we are describing this is in respect with your moon chart. So we will talk in this video about the 12th house. When Saturn transits to the 12th house, or in other words, is also called as the first phase of Sade Sati. This is an important transition phase. So the thing that happens during this phase is also called as house of isolation. 12th house is the house of your isolation. Some sort of isolation is pretty common during this time. In the 12th phase, in the 12th house when Saturn is transiting, you meet the results of your thoughts, actions, desires and activities that you might have engaged when Saturn was in other houses. So right from say 3rd house to 11th house, whatever thoughts you had, whatever deeds that you did, good or bad, you will get to know the results of all of that. Now what happens if this is your first time transit of Saturn, which means in this lifetime, I mean like a kid who's recently born and Saturn, say if he was born with Saturn in the 10th house or Saturn in the 11th house, then what happens, I mean like how will the results be decided? So in this scenario, you will have to bear some results of your past birth, past life actions. So Saturn year, it signifies the end of an old cycle. It's also like the 12th house. 12th house is nothing but the last house, right? So it signifies the end of anything. And during Sade Sati, it's mainly like an end of your thought process or reviving your thoughts, helping you identify what is right, what is wrong. So it's very difficult, like if it comes during the midlife or toward the later stages of the life. So you are used to, I mean, like it's as a part of your DNA, that you have some preconceived notions, you have some preconceived beliefs. That's very hard to change. And that's the point when you experience discontent. There's a confusion in the mind, like whatever theories I had so far, are they really true? Or I did end up wasting my time. It can be in terms of relationships. Like, hey, I have done so much for this person. It can be like, hey, I did so much for this friend. I did so much for my manager. And this is what I get in return. Why? Because Saturn is opening your eyes over here. Now, the struggle you see is a real struggle, by the way. So, you know that is fact, but due to our ego, we find it hard to believe, like, have I been so dumb during all these years that I have not been able to see this straightforward thing? The Saturn over here, it helps you see those things. As an example, if you are wearing some glasses and if you go out, so depending on the color of the glasses, you're going to see the world. Now, if those glasses are foggy, that doesn't mean the world outside is foggy. So what you will do is you will ask that person to remove the glasses and see the world. Saturn here exactly does the same thing. In other words, the ambitions, values, priorities, activities, and beliefs that once gave meaning and direction to your life are beginning to dissolve. And what happens after this? The prevailing feelings of being spaced out or lost are strongest during the first year. So, is it general rule of thumb that in the very first year I'll see the effects? No. Then how does it work? So, depends on the degrees your moon is in. Say somebody's moon is in 28 degrees, or somebody has a moon 5 degrees. So, will they have the same effect? No. So the person who has 5 degrees will find the effect earlier, maybe even before Saturn has entered his 12th house. And the person who has 28 degrees will find it towards the end. But for sure you will find these effects, like a kind of a confusion. You're not able to decide what is right, what is wrong. And that does drain up lots of emotional energy. You will find people in these situations usually find themselves to be emotionally drained, mentally drained. It's not your physical exertion, but all mental exertion. And this is the best time. Like, what are the pros during this time period? Do we have any pros? Yes. So now is the time to redefine your life. Is it time to reevaluate your goals, your ambition, your values, what you stand for? And what's your purpose in life? If you have to think about that and think hard, then that's the right time to do it. So this house, as I said, like it's also been called house of isolation, and some sort of physical isolation is required. Why? It helps you chalk out the things. So you might find people taking long walks during this transit. Why? Because they try to be aloof, they try usually to think through the things and figure out what's right, what's wrong, and what should be the priorities. If for people who have Saturn, I mean, in their natal chart in the 12th house, you'll find them more often than not thinking about these things. Am I doing the right thing? Is this the right approach? More kind of confused people, spending time more on these emotional drains. So you might feel like you are in an emotional prison, isolated from outer world, and you might go through a turbulent phase. You might not like going in the parties. If you're a social animal, you'll find you'll prefer being aloof. But people, some people have seen them to take on drinks more often than not, take on drinks, drugs. It can lead you to both the ways. It can push people towards emotional depression, or it can help you from spiritual upliftment. So if you surrender yourself to to the God or a guru and whoever you believe in, somebody, look, during this transit, you have to believe in someone, you have to believe in yourself, you have to believe in your karmas, you have to believe in the universe. Belief is the one of the most important things during this transit. And this transit will also help you reflect on your innermost strength. Everyone has some strength, so which we are not quite sure about, like, hey, what's good in us. So Saturn during this transit helps you find exactly that piece, what you're good at, what should be your purpose in life. This phase also helps teach on how to be detached. So usually we are pretty much attached to the things, like, hey, if I do X thing, I will get Y. If I do Y, I will get Z. There's not always a linear equation, like that's not how life works. And Saturn in this transit teaches you exactly the same thing. So now this is a period of emotional drainage. Why? Because in 11th house, you got all the gains, you got all the name, fame, and all of a sudden in the 12th house, seems like things are turning upside down. And this is where people either they can be led towards doing good things or end up doing bad things, which they'll be punished for. So this period is an excellent time to study about spiritual, mystical, or occult subjects. So if you have to find your innermost strength, if you have to find your belief, if you have to find a source of inspiration, um, reading spiritual books helps a lot during this time. And if you become like too kind of competitive, eventually ending up in jealousy. So these people, they then end up being learning about occult subjects, trying to harm someone. Overall, you should be focusing on the spiritual subjects. If you are leading in the right direction, going true north, so there will be a pull towards the humanitarian activities and service work. So you will find meaning of your life in helping others, doing a charity, adopting a kid, organizing a langar, helping poor people. That will give a new meaning to life. Towards the end of this transit, you might also end up switching the career. Say, from the engineering point of view, somebody's into QA or quality assurance, somebody's into development, they might move into product. If some folks, they are doing engineering, they might end up doing management, they might end up going into business administration. So, in short, you find the true calling of your life. Health problems are not uncommon during this time, and these problems have main to do with your emotional well-being rather than physical. So you'll have like psychomatic, hard to diagnose problems, psychological problems, and you might consult, doctors for the same, but it all has to do with your emotional imbalance. So doing some kind of meditations, being a part of a satsang, being a part of a positive group can help during this time, or hiking, trekking, going out in the nature, learning from the nature can help a lot. This period also teaches you to be humble, and this is what concerns most of the people because you cannot predict what's going to happen next. It's a time of uncertainty. Whatever things you were used to, like, hey, if I um, buy some stock, like I've been winning in stocks all over the years, and all of a sudden all my strategies are falling apart. So yes, that's a time of an uncertainty, and that's where you need to learn how to have patience. So how long can I have this uncertainty? Until Saturn transits to your first house. It has crossed the ascendant into the first house. This is where you will find getting some kind of relief, and things slowly started moving in the way you expect them to move. So two ways of looking at these things. First, you can think, oh damn, these are the 2.5 years. Like each and every day is going to be hundreds of years. Yes, you can think from that perspective. Or you can take a back seat and see what's Saturn trying to tell you over here. And the decision is going to be yours. So yes, there might be some challenges, but if you label those challenges as problems, they are miseries in life, this period will be the most horrific period of your life. But if you see from the positive aspect, like, hey, what are some of the changes I need to do in my life in order to move in the right direction? This might give you all the things, all the answers which you might be looking for throughout the years. So that's it for Saturn transit from Sade Sati in the first phase. If you like this video, Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any comments, enter in the comment section below. So with that, see you next week with some interesting Vedic astrology concepts. Thank you and bye for now.